Fox's Shepard Smith joins us live from Waveland, Mississippi. Shep?
Greta, we're on Coleman Avenue, the main drag in Waveland, Mississippi, or what used to be Waveland, Mississippi. This is a town where a lot of the places, 150 years old, survived Hurricane Camille in 1969, where the water never got to the railroad tracks about a mile that way, but it did this time, and it washed every single thing in this town away. Waveland, Mississippi is gone. But Jack, Gary, and Brian are not gone. We're sitting in what was Brian's home, his family home for many years, and here they've sat for the past week or so. Mike, back up if you can and give them an idea about where we are. This used to be, back in the day, this was a hardware store down below. Back on up and show if you can, Mike. This was a hardware store, and then Brian lived upstairs with his dog Rocky. And his mother. Right. And the other day when the storm came through, a wall of water came in here that moved every building off its foundation, wiped every single thing clean, pushed it all down the street, including Brian. And Rocky, his little dog, who's over here in Jack's hands. And this is a stark contrast to where Greta is. There's a nice breeze blowing. We're probably upper 70s, and Brian's thanking his lucky stars that he's still alive. What made you decide to do this, and how do you ride out a storm on top of waves at the treetops?
Well, I'll tell you the truth. The reason I stayed was because of Hurricane Camille. We're 18 feet above sea level. Storm surge, we figured, might be about 22 feet, and you do the math, so I only figured about 5 feet of water at the most. So, I kept watching it all morning, and it steadily rose and rose and rose and rose until the ceiling was 10 foot above us. So I'm upstairs, and I'm watching things around me, and the water just steadily rising.
And then you ended up riding Whitecaps for a mile.
Right. Well, it was just like, after all the walls had blown out, I'm basically floating upstairs, and I know the building's getting ready to collapse around me. I open a window, grab Rocky, crawl out on this other little roof to safety, which I thought I was going to go to a newer building, and the building just collapsed that way, and it pushed me a little Rocky into these people's backyard. I found one of their trays, serving trays from their bar, put little Rocky on it, and we were just kind of floating until we got out to the main street, and then the water just swept us down the road. And you have to realize at that time the water's still rising.
And eventually rose to a level of 22 to 28 feet here, exactly, in an area where you're already 15 to 18 feet above sea level. So we're talking about water that's 4 or 5 stories tall, and somehow he managed to ride it out. And Greta, Brian's mother, lost her life in this storm. She had been sent to higher ground and didn't make it. And through it all, people of Waveland and across Mississippi are saying, look, we're going to rebuild here, and we're going to be better than they were. But Greta, I could take you to the next street and the next street and the next street and the next street and go for miles on end with the water right there, and there is nothing. Greta, you have water over there. Over here, they have splinters. The Mississippi coast is gone.
Shep, you're probably one of the few who's actually spent a lot of time in both places, New Orleans, this region, as well as now Mississippi. Is there a way to compare and contrast what do you see that's different or the same?
It's like 2 different storms, Greta. I remember being right where you are and feeling like we were in a war zone just because of the visuals that are all around you, because there the storm was about water. It came in just east of Lake Pontchartrain and emptied it into that city and filled up that bowl. Over here, a wall of water came in, pushed every single building off its foundation for miles and miles and miles across 5 towns, leveled everything and left nothing but debris in the road, and then the water went away. And now they're high and dry. And Brian, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? You didn't have insurance. What's the plan?
No plan at this time. This is what I called home, so I'm just kind of taking it hour by hour. I'm waiting to see what kind of help I can get, Shep. At this point, I really don't have any plans.
They're hoping for some FEMA over here. They know it's going to come. They're hoping the Red Cross will come in at some point, too. They haven't seen the Red Cross yet. But, you know, Greta, one of the things I've always loved about this part of the country is they know how to slow down and take a deep breath and reevaluate. And I think that's what's happening across this coast. And it's
And of course, we all know, Shep. That's why you call it home. Shep, you are from that state, so that's your home. Shep, thank you.